I'm Dr. Sasha Amnani. I'm a board-certified psychiatrist and ADHD clinical specialist with over 2 million social media followers. And today I'm going to be answering the internet's biggest questions about ADHD and social media. How much social media is too much for someone with ADHD? There's no exact set number of minutes, but if it's starting to impact your sleep, your mood, your ability to complete tasks, it may be time to reevaluate your relationship with social media. Why is doomscrolling so addictive for ADHD brains? With ADHD, your brain is wired to seek out stimulations. And there's nothing more stimulating than scrolling through social media. At every turn, you're getting a new video and novelty around the corner. Doom scrolling is a low-effort way of keeping your brain engaged, especially if you're restless or you're anxious. The downside is that it often interrupts sleep or increases anxiety, so it's not a healthy way to self-soothe. So here's one tip that I actually use for myself, is that when I am scrolling and I feel like I'm losing time, sometimes I try to challenge myself to name the last 3 videos I saw. And if I can't do that, then I'm not quite being very mindful about my scrolling and I need to take a break. Does social media shorten your attention span? Well, that's a complicated answer. So yes, if you're not intentional about it. The constant dopamine hits from scrolling, swiping, transitioning between videos can condition your brain to expect that rapid stimulation. Now remember that dopamine is that neurochemical in charge of executive functioning and attention and processing. So what this can do is it can make it harder to focus on longer, effortful tasks, which is why it's important to build in an intentional break from digital input to reset your focus. One of the things that I love to suggest to all of my patients and have used myself is creating a dopamine menu, which are all sorts of other things besides digital stimulation that bring you the same amount of joy and excitement. So once you notice yourself spending too much time on your phone, you can look at your menu, pick something out, and do something else. Does social media increase emotional dysregulation in people with ADHD? Yes, it can. While you're scrolling, your algorithm is feeding you a range of different things. Some videos may make you feel happy, some make you feel sad, some make you feel angry. So you're kind of cycling through all these different emotions and riding that wave. It's important to balance screen time with other activities that support emotional regulation, like sleep, movement, connection. So what that might look like is when you're scrolling mindlessly before bed, replacing it with another activity like journaling. Or when your hand is moving towards your phone, use it to call a friend instead of going on your apps. By the way, what has your experience been with social media? Has it been positive? Did it help validate your ADHD? Let us know in the comments. Do people with ADHD struggle more with rejection sensitivity on social media platforms? Yes, they do. And I think that social media can create a perfect storm for this. One mislike or perceived tone can send you spiraling into self-doubt or anxiety, which is why it's so important to check in with your emotional responses and remind yourself that what you see online often lacks full emotional context. I will be the first to admit that I experience this firsthand, and when I do, I just want to throw my phone into the ocean. This might be a sign for myself that when I am experiencing this, to just put your phone away and do something else. ADHD, social media, and self-diagnosis. What do I need to know? So self-diagnosis can actually be really important for a person. It helps you describe your own internal environment, and that's important not only because it gives you language to talk about what's happening inside, but it's also important for validation. Where it becomes important to talk to a clinical provider is when you are gathering your complete history, including your medical history, to get a comprehensive diagnosis, because there are a lot of things that can be confusing. So when you look at symptoms in isolation and you're thinking, hey, that looks just like me. I'm also struggling with impulsivity. I'm also dealing with focus issues. I'm also dealing with difficulty completing tasks. You might land on ADHD, but it's important to look at everything together in that clinical picture, because then you can get the right diagnosis and then you can get the right help. How can I tell credible ADHD info from misinformation? So start by looking at the source. Is the person sharing that information licensed or working in mental health? Are they referencing research or clinical experience? Be cautious of accounts that offer information about ADHD that only looks one certain way or that's oversimplified. So what this might look like is the telltale sign of ADHD, or this could cure your ADHD. When in doubt, cross-reference what you hear with a licensed professional or with a reputable site like understood.org. Have any questions we didn't answer? Try asking the Understood Assistant, a free chat tool on understood.org. It'll give you quick answers and customized tips based on expert vetted resources. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more content like this.